clawing our way out of our graves to bring you your weekly dose of chaos and darkness. I'm Rexy.
And I'm Lily, and this is the Morning Report.
Lily, I think you have a news story, right?
I only have one. Daryl, send me Daryl, if you're listening, send me another
No.
one.
You only need one right now because it's two parts.
That's right. Just kidding. Haha.
Yeah. Could be a little bit, or you need the next one.
And I would like to reiterate that Daryl is fired.
Oh, okay. Oh, dang it. Daryl, did you? I remember him feeling excited about something. And
I hope this is it because I'm sort of excited about this as well.
Oh, okay.
But he's still fired. I'm not even going to read you the title. I'm just going to go into it because the title will ruin it. All right. So this is dated 5 days ago. That's all it says is 5 days ago.
Okay.
A cat surprised its owners by walking through the cat flap days after it was thought to have been cremated.
What? I mean, one, this is super exciting, but also, so who they cremate?
Exactly. Nikki Knight was on holiday with her family in Turkey when she was told by her neighbors that they had found her cat Ted drowned in their pond.
Wait, back up. You cut out. That they had found what?
So they were on holiday and the neighbors called and told her that their cat had drowned in their pond.
Oh, no. While you're on vacation, that's terrible.
So she quickly organized for the body to be cremated in Thornaby while she was away. However, 4 days after the ceremony, Ted walked into her home and she realized she had cremated a mystery cat.
Oh.
Vicki Crowlin, the director of Heavenly Pets Crematorium, said it was bittersweet and she was worried there was a family out there missing somebody.
Yeah, probably.
Miss Knight from Newby, North Yorkshire, had been halfway through a 2-week holiday with her family when they heard the news about Ted. Their neighbors sent a video through Mrs. Knight's Ring doorbell about finding a dead cat, which they believed to be Ted, in their pond. I had to break the news to my husband and our 4 children, and we were all absolutely devastated because Ted is a huge personality and a beloved member of the family. Not wanting to burden her neighbor with Ted's body until the family returned from holiday, Miss Knight organized for Heavenly Pets Crematorium to collect the body and cremate it. But 4 days after the cremation, Miss Knight got out of the pool in Turkey to several missed calls from her cat sitter, who had been looking after the family's other cat. I was in the pool again having a lovely time. Put Ted's death behind us, she said. The cat sitter told Miss Knight that Ted had just walked through the cat flap.
I mean, do you immediately just think you're being haunted? Like you immediately think it's a ghost, right? Or
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. And she said, I didn't believe it at first. I had to go get her to FaceTime me live so that I could see that Ted was actually alive. The truth of the matter quickly dawned on her. I've paid £130 to cremate someone else's cat.
Oh, and they don't know.
When she later went to collect the cat's ashes, the crematorium had labeled the urn "Not Dead Ted."
No! That's amazing. But also, I don't know how to feel about this story.
The family have not been able to trace the owner of the dead cat. So we do think it's actually a stray, possibly a farm cat, she said. We are peaceful with the knowledge that we've given it a good send-off.
Well, that's good.
She said the family were ecstatic to still have Ted in their lives, but Ted was less concerned.
Yeah, Ted's a cat and he doesn't care.
He's completely oblivious, she said. We still see him wandering over the road towards a neighbor's garden, so we have to go and retrieve him because, we don't actually want him going into the pond.
Right. Wait, that's wild. Like, cats are really good swimmers. I don't tend to like the water, but
The crematorium will be donating the cremation fee to a local cat rescue center.
oh, good job, crematorium. Man, you're on with the funny and the donations.
So, speaking of cats, Steve just came in and let my cat into the bedroom. So, you can't see her, but neither can I, but I know she's here.
Okay, so I did want to put the headline up because I didn't want to spoil it while you're reading your story. But now, today, we are going to be talking about the Night of the Grizzlies.
Night of the Grizzlies.
That sounds so freaky, right? It sounds like an 80s horror movie or something.
Tell me. Isn't that a book, though? Isn't that a book and a movie?
Oh, I don't know. Maybe. It's a thing that actually happened, though.
Are we talking about Glacier National Park?
We are talking about Glacier National Park.
So there is a book and a movie.
Okay. Are they both just called Night of the Grizzlies?
Night of the Grizzlies. And it happened on the night of August 13th, 1967.
Yep.
So
okay. Yep. So we wanted to bring this to you. We actually, Leah started working on this last year, right? We were starting to talk about it and we wanted to do it around August. And we had some other things that came up. So, it's close. No, Eric, someone did not accidentally cremate a grizzly. And we are not talking about Cocaine Bear, although we really should do an episode on Cocaine Bear.
Tell me.
Oh, man. Okay. So I do want to say, I want to give credit to National Park After Dark. That's a podcast that I really, really love. And if you have not listened to it, you should. They did an incredible episode on Night of the Grizzlies, and it just blew my mind. Like, it hooked me, and I had to not listen to it at work because all I wanted to do was sit down and, just listen. So, I was really excited to do that story ourselves, and thank you to Leo for working so hard on it, and here we go. So, we are going to Glacier National Park in northwest Montana, bordering Canada. The park was established in 1910. For the longest time, there was only one road that traversed the 1 million acres, or 1,580 square miles, almost the size of Rhode Island, of Glacier National Park, called the Going to the Sun Road, that stretches for 53 miles, running east to west across the Continental Divide that splits the park. The road is actually the road they're driving in the opening scenes of The Shining. Oh, okay. Had 80 glaciers when it opened, and now has only 26. A cryptid of the area is the Shunka Warrican. Lily, you're probably already looking it up, but will you find us a picture? It's a beast that's said to resemble a mix between wolf and hyena body with a wolfish
What's it called?
Head. Shunka. It's Shunka. Shunka Warrican. Warakin.
These just look like hyenas.
Oh, you find one?
I don't know. I'm just saying.
Eric says campers are delicious.
They just look like hyenas. The fuck? Oh, okay. You're gonna explore new areas of my bedroom. Hi, Ethan.
You found your cat?
Yeah, she's on top of the dresser.
Okay. Where was that?
Oh, they are called the hyena of the Rocky Mountains.
Well, that makes sense. Okay. In the language of the native Lowe people, Shunka Warrican means carries off dogs. The best evidence of its existence was a specimen shot in 1886 by Israel Hutchins on what is now the Sun Ranch in Montana. Some say it looked like a species of prehistoric creature that maybe survived to the present day. The only known piece of physical evidence, a stuffed trophy, was never examined by qualified scientists and witnessing.
So I am sharing a picture of that specific creature. That's the one that Israel shot.
Oh, okay, and that's the one that went missing. Does look like a hyena or a boar. Yeah, I see the boar in it too.
So the reason that this particular creature was a big deal is there's not wolves in that. There were not wolves in that state for
Okay.
a while. This says for a significant portion of the 20th century.
Wow, so that was probably a pretty huge, pretty scary sighting. I have no idea what this thing is. Okay. The number one cause of fatalities in the park is water. Weird that it's also the number one cause of survival. Drownings, slipping on rocks, hypothermia, water parasites, and mammalian diving reflex, which restricts blood flow to your extremities and keep it flowing through your vital organs after a sudden cold plunge into water. All these factor into the 296 deaths in the park since 1910. Over the last 20 years, though, Glacier isn't even in the top 30 for deadliest national parks, according to data kept for deaths occurring in national parks between 2007 and 2024. Top honors go to North Cascades National Park in Washington and Denali National Park in Alaska as deadliest per capita for visitors. What makes them the most deadly parks? Like, what is it? If water is the number one cause of fatalities in Glacier, what is it for Cascades and Denali?
I don't know.
I wonder, is Denali climbing deaths? Maybe.
Yes. Denali, it would be climbing. And what was the other one?
Cascades, North Cascades.
So many of the deaths that she knew, this is a former ranger who worked for North Cascades, says that many of the deaths that she knew were among alpine climbers and hikers. People plunging from mountains or fatally wounded by falling rock and ice.
Oh, man. Okay, so more climbing deaths. So those must be big, like ice climbing or like really snowy. Yeah.
So North Cascades National Park is 3.7 deaths per 100,000 visitors. And Denali is 0.93 deaths per 100,000 visitors.
Holy wow. Okay.
And yeah, that's.
I mean, I guess it's not terribly surprising considering. I mean, it is the wilderness, right? Like, accidents happen. A lot of people go out, and a lot of the activities in this environment is dangerous. I mean, just is. Still. Okay. I got distracted. Let's go. Oh, Leo, are you still watching? Are you here? I have a question for you if you are.
He had better be. That's his job.
Yeah, this is true. Leo, you should be here. Leo, can you drop the link for this live stream in the Wardruna chat? Somebody just asked for it, but now I need to get back to reading. Okay. But along with water fatalities, there's the animal attacks that end in death. Hard to find data on which animals have actually caused deaths in the park, but humans should be wary of wolves, bighorn sheep, mountain goats, mountain lions, and bison. Also, surprisingly, even though Michigan is famously the Wolverine state, there are no Wolverines in the Wolverine state. Really?
Yeah, no, that's ridiculous.
That seems, yeah. Oh, give me just a second. I want to share this thing. I'm not sure where Leo is.
So I can hear the cat, but I cannot see her. And I feel like I'm being stalked.
Well, she has a cat. She has like a teeny tiny murder machine living in your house.
Yeah, but she gets all cuddly every morning about 10:30 and wants to take a nap.
So cute.
There she is. Biscuit.
I wish we could see her.
Yeah, me too.
Okay. There are no wolverines in the Wolverine state. In fact, it's Glacier where you would be most likely to see a wolverine in the world, and they aren't exactly known for being friendly. Also, surprisingly to some, moose are by far the most dangerous animal in the park, as being charged at by a moose that actually makes contact is like being hit by a car, as many moose weigh around 1,500 pounds.
Moose are assholes.
They are. Have you seen that the video, the dude who does the like crazy animal videos? The one, did you see the dude who, you know what I'm talking about?
I think so.
He's the one who told me that moose can dive. I never knew that moose could dive until this video. Like, just they're terrifying. They're amazing, but they're also like, holy wow. Okay. Hard to find data on deaths caused by moose in Glacier, but attacks by moose are much more prevalent than any other animal. Way more, in fact, than the one animal most think of when first let me just start that sentence over. Way more, in fact, than the one animal most think of when worrying about being attacked in the wild. Of course, we're talking about bears. Yay! Yeah, Eric says moose are super dangerous, and so many idiot tourists get far too close to them. Yes, there's a whole Instagram account. I am highly caffeinated today, and I am so sorry. It's so hard to be still.
I love you for it, though.
I love you too.
Crazy Rex Tea is my favorite.
Oh, I miss you. There's a whole Instagram account dedicated to tourists being idiots, tourists being morons. It's called Tourons. So if you guys have not seen that Instagram account, you should go look up.
It's amazing.
Tourons of national parks or something like that. Like we'll find it, we'll share it. It's amazing. You guys have to check it out. Okay, back to bears. As of February 2024, Glacier National Park in Montana has had 10 fatal bear attacks in over 100 million visits since 1910. 2 of the fatal attacks occurred in 1967, and 8 more occurred between 1968 and 1998. There have been no fatal attacks since 1998. The story we have today is about the 2 fatal attacks in 1967 and how those deaths completely changed how people viewed bears in the United States and how we've learned to live with bears since.
I just don't know how you can look at a bear as anything other than a murder machine.
They're so cute.
They're so cute, but they're ginormous. And I don't like anything. I don't trust anything that's bigger than me. Yeah. No, I'm not going to look at that. I'm not going to look at that and go, oh my God, I have to hug it. Like, I have to hug it. Everything is bigger than you.
But I know better. Like, in my head, I'm like, I could make friends. But then, like, no. There are things that I cannot make friends with, and those are wild animals and crazy people.
That's because you have crazy white girl DNA somewhere in your body, and we have to save every animal.
I know. We have to save all of the animals, and we aren't afraid of any of them. Oh, I hope this doesn't kill the audio.
Wait, is this 2 separate attacks, or were these people killed at the same time?
Oh, just buckle up.
Well, no, I need to know because now I'm concerned. Because if it's 2 separate attacks, like 2 different bears at 2 different times, that's 2 different attacks. But if it's like one bear attacking both of them, isn't that still only one attack with 2 casualties?
Yeah, it probably would be. If it's all happening at the same time.
See, we're skewing numbers because people don't know how to math correctly.
But we're not. You just hold on. Buckle up and hold on. This story is bananas. Okay.
She's got her favorite mouse, so she's hiding from me, so she won't let me pet her.
I wish I could see her. Okay.
I do too.
Night of the Grizzlies. The Summer of Love, 1967, and Glacier was plagued by a burning of a different kind, namely wildfires that started all over the park that season. Thunderstorms and the carelessness of park visitors sparked blazes that damaged thousands of acres of wildlife habitat that year. Lots of wildlife were forced to claim new territory, and with the influx of more and more human activity every year, people encroached and overlapped into wildlife habitat more and more. Of course, back in 1967, human attitudes towards sharing land with other creatures was more about dominion over them instead of in harmony with them. So, it's no wonder that many visitors came to Glacier that summer looking to be entertained by what they believe to be more like domesticated animals, rather than to be in awe of wild animals in their natural habitat. While it wasn't the official policy of the park, rangers would put stashes of food in viewing areas where visitors would gather to watch grizzly bears, drawn in by the smell of food. Nope, I swear on everything, they actually did this. They did this to bring in more visitors. Yeah. They figured out that if they could, so they could like take all of this scraps and tons of bacon grease and throw it all in this one spot and then tell everybody when it happened. Everybody would tell everybody else, and then huge crowds of people would come to the park to bring in lots of money to the park and watch these bears eat because they are getting very used to being fed.
Oh, you shut up.
There's so much more. So much. We just started. Sometimes multiple grizzlies would be drawn in, and fights between the bears would be cheered on by the spectators.
Stop.
They even set up bleachers for the crowds to watch the chaos.
Okay. If we're in 1967, we've now had Yogi Bear cartoon for 6 years. Did we not learn anything from Yogi Bear?
No, I don't think so.
What the ever-loving
heck? A pin in exactly how comfortable people were with grizzly bears. It said that sometimes parents would walk up to grizzly bears with their small kids and have them ride the grizzlies.
Shut up. There is only one child I have ever met that I could possibly put up against a grizzly bear, and that was like 3-year-old Frey. She has calmed down a lot in 3 years. But 3-year-old Frey would be the only kid what the hell? I've only met that I would put up against a grizzly bear.
This is terrible. Terrible. And it's gonna keep getting worse. In the first 57 years after the park had opened, no deaths attributed to bear attacks had been recorded. But also over those 57 years, the habitats of bears and humans had become closer and closer. Smaller areas of flora and fauna for bears to prey upon means that bears will begin looking for other sources of food, and the food brought in by people sometimes becomes the easiest source for them.
Well, yeah.
This fact was known to park officials at the time, and even though they knew this relationship between bears and human food was unhealthy, to say the very least, it wasn't seen as cause for concern because bears were considered to be too scared of humans to be a real risk.
Nothing is scared of what is smaller than it.
The friendly Yogi Bear eating from your picnic basket was believed to be closer to how things really were than what the events of August 1967 would prove to be true.
You dum-dums.
In June of 1967, a mangy, emaciated grizzly sow had been reported to be foraging for food from trash cans near a collection of cabins near Glacier named Kelly's Camp. People staying at the cabins had reported this bear a few times over the summer, telling tales of tents and sleeping bags ripped to shreds, backpacks torn apart, and canned food chewed open.
Because that's what bears do.
That's what bears do. One couple reported being trapped inside their cabin as that grizzly slapped the sides of the cabin at any noise or sign of activity inside. That's not typically what they do. No. They don't usually want much to do with us. After escaping to a ranger station, the couple was basically laughed at, the rangers believing no bear was actually putting anybody in any real danger.
The 60s were a weird time, y'all.
Right. This bear would be observed moving between these cabins and Trout Lake, 6 miles to the north of Kelly's Camp, reportedly chasing a group of Girl Scouts in the first week of August 1967.
Well, it just wanted to give them a ride. That's all.
Yep, that's it. So the other kids getting rides from the grizzly bears. It's like, don't you guys want to be left out? Here I am.
It's free. This
It
is
only
like-
cost you an arm and a leg.
I was gonna make a white van with candy joke, but you won.
Julie Helgeson, just 19 years old, was spending the summer working at the East Glacier Lodge. She and her boyfriend, Roy Ducat, were taking their weekend to do an 8-mile overnight backpacking hike on the night of August 12th. The hike took them from Logan Pass along the beautiful Highline Trail to Granite Park Chalet, a lodge only accessible by backpackers, where they ate dinner about 7 p.m., watched the sunset, and bedded down for the night. They slept in the open air under the stars, along with dozens of other campers dotting the grounds. Okay, this sounds kind of amazing. Their campsite was close to dumpsters where food waste from the chalet was thrown away.
See, it sounded amazing until you said the dumpster.
Yep.
And now there's bears.
Now there's
automatically
bears.
There's bears.
And they're not the teddy bears you want to be snuggling with at night. Like, they're chumpy. I would show you bear teeth, but I'm reading. Around midnight, Ducat was woken up by Helgeson whispering to him that she thought she saw a bear coming into camp. She told him to stay as still and quiet as possible, but no sooner than she got the words out that the grizzly attacked Roy. He was thrown 10 feet away from where he was laying by the bear. It followed Roy and pounced on him, sinking its teeth into his shoulder, left arm, and both legs. Roy managing to stay quiet the entire time.
Shut up.
Yeah, I have no idea. I would be screaming my freaking head off. Then the bear turned its attention to Julie, biting and clawing at her, leading Julie to scream for help. Roy instinctively played dead as he heard the bear drag Julie away, but as soon as he thought it was safe, he ran towards the other campers yelling for help. The bear grabbed up in its jaws and began to run down the hill with Julie as she screamed. Ugh. Roy got up and grabbed his flashlight to try to startle and confuse the bear when he noticed that his left arm was just dangling by a thread.
I was just going to ask, isn't this the guy that just got shredded by a bear?
Yeah, yep. He went into shock from the blood loss. A helicopter with medical supplies flew in to help with Roy's wounds as he cried for them to go find Julie and help her instead. He was then airlifted to a hospital. Rangers were hesitant to immediately go track down Julie due to it being pitch black night, not having enough people to search, nor enough firepower in case they encountered the bear. Even flying helicopters in and out of the park at that time of night was a danger because the only way to tell the difference between flying into the open night sky or flying into a mountain was the sudden absence of stars.
Okay.
This keeps getting worse. The anxiety of Julie possibly still being alive aided them, and after 2 hours, rangers finally armed with rifles arrived and followed the blood trail leaving the camp. Soon they found Helgeson face down about 400 feet from camp with no bear in sight, but Helgeson was alive. A doctor staying at the chalet treated her, noting that her lungs had been punctured, her left forearm had been chewed to the bone, and her legs were badly mangled and alarmingly no longer bleeding. What does it mean when you stop bleeding?
It means that there's no more blood.
Oh, okay. Okay. We don't want that.
Or it has coagulated and you have your body has been like, hey, wait a second. We don't need to waste energy over there.
Oh.
It can also be a form of shock.
Yeah. Okay. And we knew that he was.
So this is not good.
Okay.
Also, all signs point to no.
All signs point to bad. A group carried her back to the chalet to treat her and meet another airlift to a hospital. 2 doctors operated on her briefly before seeing she had lost more blood than they realized. A priest who was also at the chalet came to her side once they reached the lodge. Julie, who was barely hanging on and with eyes closed, asked the doctor if she was going to die.
Yes.
The doctor The doctor shook his head towards the priest, and the priest asked Julie if she knew that God loved her and that he would keep her. It said
I have
that
a real
Julie
quick
squeezed
question.
his hand. Yep.
I have a real quick question. If God loved her and was going to keep her, why would he let this happen?
Why she get mangled by a bear?
Yeah,
Yep.
I have questions.
It said that Julie squeezed his hand at this time and seemed to be at peace. Julie Helgeson died around 3:45 a.m., just minutes before the helicopter came.
She stopped bleeding. The helicopter wasn't going to do anything for her.
No.
It was
It
too
just
late.
Have to wonder, like, I get all the reasons that they didn't go out. Like, it's super dangerous for everybody, and like, it's even more dangerous. Like, if they get hurt out there, then they have to send more people out to try to help them. And this bear is, angry. But dang, it's like if they had gone out earlier and found her, like, would she still be alive?
I'm gonna go find pictures.
Okay.
Because I have to know.
If they are super gory, maybe don't share them so we don't get in trouble. Oof. Andrea, hey, how's it going? Thanks for hanging out with us.
I don't think the internet's going to give me what I want, and I'm upset.
Eric says adrenaline is a hell of a drug. Yeah, it can, I mean, definitely make your body do stuff that it would not normally be able to do. Like stay quiet while you're being completely ripped to shreds by a bear.
I just, no. Why? It's a freaking bear.
It's a bear. Yes. Oh, man. It's scary. It's a bear, and also, like, this is not how bears behave. So, it's a bear that's doing something out of the ordinary that was reported, and they were laughed at, and then they got attacked.
Is this the mangy bear?
Yeah.
Okay, so mange can affect their brain if it's bad enough, and it should have been put down immediately once they found it and it had mange.
Right. Not laughing at people when they report it.
Not only do bears kill you, mange can kill you separately.
Oof. Okay.
Just a heads up, just in case.
Okay. Back to the teddy bears. All right. Hours later, at about 12 miles to the south, to the south of Roy and Julie's attack, another lodge employee named Michelle Coons, also 19, started an 8-mile hike from Lake McDonald Lodge, where she worked towards Trout Lake, mentioned earlier, with 4 other coworkers and Michelle's puppy named Squirt.
No.
Darkness was falling by the time they set up their camp at Trout Lake and settled in for the night, cooking hot dogs and fresh fish from their catch that day around 8 p.m. Unbeknownst to them, the emaciated grizzly that had been reported over and over for terrorizing guests all over the Trout Lake and Kelly Camp area rushed into their camp. They retreated from their camp about 50 yards and watched in amazement as the grizzly ravaged it, tearing up their belongings, presumably searching for more food after eating what they'd just cooked. After finding nothing else interesting, the bear disappeared back into the woods from which it came. The group quickly grabbed what could be salvaged from their camp and set up a new camp where they had been hiding. They left behind cookies at the old spot to hopefully distract the bear in case it came back. They settled in again and went to sleep. But again, around 4 a.m., one camper named Denise woke up to the sound of splashing in the lake. Oh, that's got to be scary. Like, you're camping. You want a tent. That's all that's between you and whatever is splashing around in the lake.
It's a bear. It's a bear. I don't know how else to
terrorizing
do
people,
anything
and they
here.
won't do anything about it. And the rangers are just like, it's fine.
It's a bear.
Okay. She quickly woke everyone up, the group spotting the same bear from earlier from atop a ridge above and not far from the lake. They watched the skinny grizzly go back to their old camp and eat the cookies they left. The bear milled around for about 15 minutes, and satisfied that the cookies were enough of a decoy, most of them tried to get a little more sleep since it was almost dawn. Denise stayed awake to keep an eye on the bear. She watched the bear saunter around another 15 minutes, then suddenly it quickly and aggressively made tracks towards them. Denise barely had time to scream to wake everyone up. One guy named Paul had barely stirred awake by the time the grizzly was on top of him. It bit and clawed at his sweater and flung him around in his sleeping bag. Luckily, the bear took a moment to stop biting Paul, and he was able to wriggle out of his sleeping bag and run away and climb a tree. He then yelled at everyone else to climb a tree, and most of them were able to escape into trees unscathed, but Michelle Coons had been struggling to unzip her sleeping bag. She screamed as the bear approached her and started slashing at her with its claws. The grizzly tore into her flesh with its teeth. The bear dragged her, trapped her in her bag off into the brush.
Stop.
Her party heard her saying as she was dragged off that he's got my arm and oh God, I'm dead.
Yeah, it's a bear.
You're just hearing your friend just watching the beat, and like you can't do anything because it's a bear. The party stayed in the trees for what seemed like an hour before getting the nerve to climb down and seek help. A couple rangers with knowledge of the grizzly attack from earlier that night heard the calls for emergency response for this attack and were confused at first, thinking there couldn't possibly have been another attack that night. They came to join the search for Michelle along with a few of her fellow hikers that day. Unfortunately, Michelle's mutilated body was found about 300 feet from their campsite, and she was found to be dead. Veteran park ranger Leonard Londa described finding her body as the most horrific scene he'd ever experienced. And this could have been avoided. All of this, 100%, all of it could have been avoided.
Don't feed the bears.
Don't feed the bears. And if somebody reports one, pay attention. Like, don't laugh at them and tell them to leave.
So, okay. So I don't have any pictures of the bodies, and I'm a little upset by that. So sorry. But I do have a picture of the bear.
Oh, okay.
After it was killed. So, spoilers.
Let's see.
Which this bear does not look mangy or in any bad health at all. So
Okay.
now I'm upset.
So yeah, warning to you guys, I'm going to show this in just a couple of seconds. If you don't want to see the bear, there will be a picture of a dead bear.
That bear looks sort of healthy.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't look mangy. Looks a little hungry. But it also looks very small. Considering that guy is probably not a giant.
Right.
That is a tiny bear.
Okay, so let's go back to our story. Rangers were armed. Okay.
And that bear killed 2 people, 10 miles apart?
8 miles, 10 miles? Yeah, a really long way apart.
So, bears are fast.
And deadly. Extremely deadly. They are not teddy bears. Rangers were armed and told to shoot any bear anywhere near Trout Lake and Granite Park Chalet that they encountered in the days following the attacks.
Wrong answer.
Yep. By Monday, they had killed 4 bears, 2 of which were confirmed to be the bears that attacked each of the campsites based on blood of the claws, and the other bear was found to have human hair in her stomach and glass embedded in her gums. The sow, who was skinny and reportedly looked very old and haggard, had spent her last month scavenging in the park, not afraid of any human who might come between her and her food that she was obviously not getting near enough of. So that is why the bear doesn't look anything like the skinny bear, because it was a different bear. They killed 4 bears.
Wrong answer.
Yep.
You don't go kill 4 bears when you could have only killed 1 bear if you had done this days ago.
Right, if you had paid attention. The days and weeks following found park officials scrambling and at a loss to explain why all of a sudden grizzlies were attacking people. The first attacks in the park's 57-year history inexplicably happening within hours of each other.
I don't know. Was it because you made them dance around like circus monkeys?
Probably, yep, and fight each other while guests sat in literal bleachers and cheered on bear fights
Those
that
bears
the
have a
park
vendetta.
rangers were putting on. The park rangers.
Okay.
Some already knew that sometimes campers were feeding table scraps to bears for their amusement, but the myth that grizzlies were next to harmless unless provoked was one that somehow died hard.
No.
Surprising, right?
Look, okay. I'm still staring at this bear picture. This mofo, I mean, its claws are as long as this dude's fingers.
Yeah. And there's a lot of those claws.
And
And
it's
giant teeth.
just muscle. Like,
And it just wants to eat.
you may be big and buff, but
It doesn't care that you're a person. It just cares that
The
it's hungry
Rock-
and it wants to eat.
Dwayne
That's
"The
it.
Rock" Johnson couldn't fight a bear. I mean, he probably
No.
could, but he's not going to
He'd
make it
lose.
out unscathed. Because bears are awful. I mean, they're not awful. They're
not awful, but they're very
mean.
strong and very chompy. And like they're a wild animal. They're simply instinct. That's it. It's just instinct. And your food. We're made of meat and carbohydrates.
I'm so upset.
Trash sites all over the park were poorly maintained and often couldn't handle the quantity of food waste generated by visitors. One theory about why that night in particular riled up the bears was the thunder and lightning that was scattered near the area that night. Which,
You mean the thunder and lightning that they've been living their whole life with?
Right, yeah. Another theory claimed that the smell of menstrual blood might have attracted the bears.
Okay, now they're sharks.
Yep. Brochures were even put together to warn women from entering bear country if they were menstruating. No anecdotal evidence was provided to support this theory, but despite this, a study was even done in 1991 to show that bears really don't care about menstruation. They don't.
No. Nobody should.
Except for the ones dealing with it. We care.
Exactly.
But otherwise, nobody
and
knows.
even then, I don't care that much. Whatever. If I care too much, it gains too much power.
That's fair. That's fair. Mine tries to kill me every month, so it gets attention.
Well.
This immediate reaction to the grizzly attack started a discussion on whether grizzlies everywhere needed to be killed to protect humans who might encounter them. Like, that was a literal discussion that had people behind it.
You idiots.
Yep. But luckily, that hysteria didn't last long, instead opting for actions that actually address the problem of bears connecting their hunger with human food instead of their normal wild food sources. Bear-proof garbage cans and dumpsters were created and put in parks. The practice of separating sleeping quarters and spots where food was stored and prepared was implemented. Hanging food in trees away from camp also was put into practice, along with limiting the number of campers in any given space in parks. So, I mean, they made changes, like things happened afterwards, but like people got real messed up and real damaged and real dead.
Did we stop setting up the bear fights?
Yes. Okay. We also stopped setting up the bear fights. Yep.
What the heck? And there's a part 2 to this? There's more?
No, that's actually the end of it. I couldn't ever figure out where to stop it, so
I was like, where is this gonna go after this?
Yeah, that's actually the end of it. Yeah.
I was like, there's more? Because that's crazy.
Yeah, that's it. I just I couldn't figure out where to stop it because it was like, this is an intense
there wasn't
story
a good
and I don't want to stop. So
there wasn't a good place.
It's gonna be a long episode. Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna take this photo of this poor bear off my screen because it's making me sad.
Yeah, it really sucks. Like, all killed because of idiot people.
Ooh, I just don't understand. And this is because I've grown up after this attack, but how you could look at a freaking bear and go, oh yeah, that thing's nice.
People still do it all the time. People try to put moose and bison and, I mean,
Oh,
It's
that's
like
called natural selection,
Yeah.
and we're gonna let it happen.
you have like these park rangers too. You have people working there telling you, yeah, this is safe. Look, it's fine. And letting them walk up and just like put their children on these bears. They're just telling them it's fine. So like you're just totally ignoring all of your survival instinct and being like, they said it's fine. I'm gonna put my baby on a bear. Nothing bad can happen.
I'm gonna start punching people in the face when they have stupid ideas.
It's probably a good idea.
Yep. No. Bad. You're the problem. I'm just gonna have to sit with this for the rest of the night and how upset I am.
Yeah, it sucks. I've listened to several podcasts about that now because it's just like I cannot wrap my mind around people being that stupid. Let's set up bear feeding fight shows to bring
and
more
then
people
get
into the
confused
park.
as to when people are attacked by bears.
Right.
I know the answer to this problem. It's you. You did this.
Yep. Okay. We're gonna move on briefly from the bear because it is 9 o'clock out where you are right now.
It sure is.